मज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं गुरौ श्रीयुक्तकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथं मितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं साधुतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखावतां श्री कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपीकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to this discussion on Bhagavad Gita. We have been discussing the chapter 3. So the chapter 3 overview is given in this. Right now we are in how Karma Yoga elevates. So this is the part we are discussing. We are right now in shloka number 33. So which talks about one should do one's duty according to one's own nature for purification, no imitation. So in the previous class, we talked about the material nature and the material desire. So there is something called as prakriti. Prakriti is nature, and vasana is desire, which is not a bona fide desire. So that is vasana. So material nature, this is called prakriti. It is innate of our psychophysical nature, and it is harmonizable with dharma. For example, to have children, to study, to do some business, to work for others, to do administration. These are few things which is harmonizable with dharma. Eat food, live in a comfortable pace, and so on. So this is harmonizable with dharma. But material desire, this is called as vasana. This is superficial to our psychophysical nature, and it is not harmonizable with them. Example is um, taking intoxication, having illicit sex, um, understanding, using the chance theory, the probability theory for earning money, and where we lose interest in Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is gambling. Then animal killing. This is not harmonizable with dharma. Then what happens? This results in getting bound in this material world. So this is vasana. So Krishna is, if you see the shloka number 33 to 35, one should do one's duty according to one's nature for purification, not imitation. So that means we should understand our nature and then select an activity which is part of our dharma. So with this note, let us go to the shloka number 33. So sadrusham chestate swasya prakrite jnanavan api prakriti nyanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. What can repression accomplish? So we were just thinking, discussing about why should Krishna make a point? Why should Krishna? Why is Krishna telling that repression is very difficult? So should we just let our senses in control? Then we went to these other shlokas in the chapter 3 between between shloka number 37 to 44. So you can see Arjuna is asking a question. What impels us to do sinful acts unwillingly? Supreme Personality of Godhead is saying that it is lust who is our sinful enemy, and how we will be, what is the center of this lust, how we can control it. So this is being told by Krishna. So this means what? This means that Repression, what Krishna is talking about is that we cannot control our nature. For us to control our nature, we need to dovetail our nature for Krishna consciousness. So that is what Krishna means by Prakriti. What can repression accomplish? It is not uh, control of it is not control of one's material nature, but Krishna is talking about control of material desire. We need to dovetail our material nature for Krishna and control material desire. This is what Krishna is telling. We cannot control our material nature. We need to dovetail it because we feel hungry, we feel thirsty, we feel we sometimes feel sad, sometimes feel happiness. These are the nature which is born of psychophysical nature. So that is what Krishna is telling in this shloka. What can repression accomplish? Accomplish, we cannot repress our nature. So that is what Krishna is telling. So now, if you see shloka number 37. Okay, let us see. So Krishna is telling in text number 43, Jai Shatru Mahabao Kamarupa Durasana. So what is in Krishna telling here? Krishna, thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to material senses. Maha is telling mighty harmed Arjuna. So Mahava conquers this enemy lust using the spiritual strength. So we have to use spiritual strength, spiritual intelligence, and Krishna consciousness to elevate ourselves. So Srila Prabhupada here is translating this uh, Samstabhya Atmanam Atmana, deliberate spiritual intelligence. Samstabhya Atmanam Atmana. He is telling that it is Krishna consciousness, spiritual intelligence. He is telling us Krishna consciousness. So we in our Krishna conscious moment, how do we control our material nature? We control by first understanding that we are constitutional part and parcel of Krishna. How do we do that? We do that first by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, then by chanting the holy names of the Lord, get into this practice, and then follow four regulatory principles. So systematically, we understand how we are going to how we dovetail our nature for Krishna. So BG 3.33 doesn't mean it's a license for sense enjoyment, but the correct interpretation is that we have to dovetail our material nature. So Nigrahatim Karshati in BG, this one talks about Prakriti. This means Arjuna has Kshatriya nature. So Arjuna has to progress in this direction of his Prakriti. He cannot be sannyasi. It would be a disaster. It won't work for him. What would the repression accomplish by artificially acting as sannyasi? He cannot repress his material nature as Kshatriya. So he has to act according to his nature of being a Kshatriya. Even the learned will act according to their nature. That is what the man of knowledge, even a man of knowledge, will act according to his nature. So we may wonder and ask a question, can we transcend our nature entirely? Is it possible to transcend our nature? Do we have to transcend our nature? The important point is that we stay focused on what is productive for us. Productive means we should be internally satisfied, we are comfortable in whatever service we are doing, and externally we become competent. We are good at doing a particular service. If we do this, we need not have to worry. We will do it correctly. If we have to transcend our varna or not, we do not know. Right now, we do not know. Occasionally, we may be forced to do a service which we are not comfortable. So what we do then, we are thrust with these services. So what in such cases, how do we control ourselves? For example, somebody does not know how to sing. But if the devotees are traveling, he has to sing for Mangalarti. So he's put into a service which he is not comfortable. So we are thrust with these services. In such cases, how do we control our mind, or how do we ensure that we do it with proper attention? We may have to do the services temporarily, and in general, we look for services and engagement with which we are comfortable doing and are satisfied. This is required. But sometimes devotees have the idea that doing the thing. Uh, Sometimes what happens is that we have pushed into this. When we push into it, we have to accept the circumstances. So it is not that something is being forced on us. What we need to do is we have to, whatever situation we are put in, we do it with full interest for Krishna, and we need to tolerate the pain or tolerate the learning curve that we have to undergo when we are put into such a new situation, or if you are traveling to a country where you don't know the language or the situation is completely different, and you need to do book distribution there. It is a pain for us, but then we need to tune ourselves and ensure that we surrender to Krishna to make the situation better and learn and grow fast in that situation. So this may happen to us, but we need to be prepared. So everywhere, our idea is Anukulyena Krishnanusila Keval Bhakti Uttama. Whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness, we need to adapt it. And that is the important idea behind the our doing service. We need to understand Anukliyana. Whatever is necessary for Krishna's service, we need to do this. The important point is that we should not identify ourselves with nature completely and misidentify our current nature to be our eternal nature. That is why we have a sadhana, and sadhana is our standard. Whatever the person is doing, he has to do he has to execute his sadhana meticulously. This standard sadhana is a universal standard for everyone, and then everyone has his own specific service. This way, we slowly and steadily advance in spiritual life. So, in sadhana, what we do, we chant 16 rounds, we do follow four regulatory principles, avoid coffee, tea, chocolate, we avoid onion, garlic, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, getting up early in the like for Mangalarti, early in the morning, like around 4 o'clock you get up, and 4:30 you are available for Mangalarti. This itself is uh, under making us understand that we are not this body, we are soul, and we are in a very, very tough condition. So this itself is working out of our comfort situation. So this is our material nature. To work, to execute this sadhana itself is our material work. So once we do this, we need to then identify some other service in which we are good at. So there is no compromise in sadhana. We cannot tell that I am feeling uncomfortable, so I will not attend Bangalati. That is not this. Our standard is the sadhana we need to follow regularly, and that only will give us the momentum to do other service with full interest. Beyond this, if we look the overall picture of world today, no one has any clue what our work is. I also don't have any clue what our work is. We may be born in a particular varna, but we would be doing activity which is not according to our varna. So, for example, I work in an organization and I have no clue why I am working that. How is it related with my nature? I don't know, but it is required to do the living here. So, just I'm doing this work. Principally, if we go to a work and work for someone, get money from them for the work, then it is a Shudra Vritti. So it is not a Brahminical. Brahminical qualification, if somebody is Brahmana, he will not work for money. He will work free of cost. So if somebody works for money, then it is a Shudra Vritti. So this is very, very important. We do not have engagements right now which are aligned with our Varna Ashrama propensities. This is according to our traditional Varna. For example, Brahmana, a person who is born in Brahmana family, but maybe may choose to, due to peer pressure and his own ambition, social trends, and financial needs, he wants to become an engineer or doctor. This is this is a trend in India right now. The person may not be engaged in a Brahminical way at all. So one person may be from a business family. He may choose to do something related to his business. So this may vary. Maybe he will stay in the business community. So that could be a partially Vaishya. But Vaishya community major thing is go Krishi, go Raksha Krishi. He has to give cow protection and he has to do agriculture. Anything related or byproduct of this is a good Vaishya um profession. We may have to go through the process of self-discovery. Principally, individual self-discovery means that we discover ourselves as the soul. This is the first level of self-discovery. So the second level of discovery is to understand what is our psychophysical nature. I am a soul in a particular body. In a particular body, how I can best serve Krishna. So to understand that we are soul, we need to ensure that our sadhana is bulletproof. So this is very, very important. Other till then, we will not be in a position to understand how best we can serve Krishna. If we are not doing our sadhana properly, then the point is that we are still in material desire. We are doing something which is not harmonizable with Dharma. So that is why we cannot go to our material nature. How best I can serve Krishna. We cannot move from material desire to material nature. So, in today's society, if you see, everybody works for specific jobs, earns livelihood. When someone is in dire financial straits, he has to do a particular job. This is okay. In Vedic culture, we have to do work according to our particular propensities. In Kali Yuga, we have no other go, but we need to manage the situation uh, because there is no proper Varnashram community. We are in a society which is already broken down. So we need to build a Varnashram society, and that will take some time. Till then, we need to, whatever situation we are, we start cultivating Krishna consciousness and improve our Krishna consciousness so that we are able to come to understand our material nature properly. This will give. Now, sometimes people may feel that the job that they are doing is not according to their propensities and they are not satisfied. They are not sufficiently paid or they are not satisfied with the work environment. The most important one could be, most important reason that one is not satisfied is that the job is not compatible with the nature. So we can see that in our workplace also, whatever work we are doing, maybe we are in administration of people, but our fundamental nature is not Kshatriya. We are probably Shudra. We want to do a work and come out. Then it is Shudra Vritti. So this is because it is not in line with our inherent nature. So that could be a indication of what our inherent nature is. Thus, this depends on every individual. Some may have reasonably good career and therefore may or may not want to change work according to his nature. This means one may like to pursue his career as it is and simultaneously practice sadhana and service and transcend one's varna by this spiritual practice. This is okay. But fundamentally, uh, the most important commodity that we should give to Krishna is our time. So, how we are dovetailing our time for Krishna service is very important. Whether we have identified our material nature, whether we have identified our varna and ashrama inherent propensities, That is not important. What is more important is that we spend a good amount of time in Krishna consciousness, which means a solid morning program and then at least 1 hour of book reading following the sadhana very well. This is very, very important. Then I think it is this whatever I talked about on material nature, detailing in identifying our inner propensities. These are all this needs to be built on strong sadhana background. Without strong sadhana background, talking on this too much will not yield the uh, will not yield anything concrete. So we need first a very good sadhana, and then you practice this for a long period of time. You come to understand what your inherent propensities are. So Krishna, coming back to the shloka, Nigraha Kim Karishati. Krishna here is emphasizing the point that we all have our nature, hence act according to the nature. Nigraha Kim Karishati. What can repression accomplish? What can repression accomplish by not acting according to our nature? So this is very important. So let us go to the next shloka. इन्द्रियसर्थे रागद्वेषव्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नाशम् अगच्छेत् तौ हि अस्य परिपन्थिनौ. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to senses and their objects. So, here, raga means attachment and dvesha means detachment. One should not come under the control of such attachment and because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. We can see in the previous verse, Krishna is telling, Nigraha Kim Karisheti, what can repression accomplish? In this sloka, Krishna is telling, Tayona Vasam Agachet. He is telling Tayona Vasam Agachet. That means what? One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion. Is this a contradiction? So, Tayona Vasam Agachet means never come under the control. So previous verse talks about the Nigraha Kim Karishati, talks about repressing, talks about do not represent nature. Here it is telling to protect oneself from attachment and aversion. So Indriyani Indriya Sati, the principles to regulate aversion and attachment and aversion pertaining to senses and objects. One should protect so one should protect from attachment and aversion. So the attachment and aversion is situated in indriyas. It is situated in sense and sense object. So this is vasana. This is not prakriti. So in the previous verse, the main focus was material nature because we need to dovetail our our psychophysical nature in terms of dharma and work for Krishna. But on the other second, this sloka, this 3.34 is talking about material desire, which is aversion and attachment. So we need to control this. We should never fall prey to this. From where this comes? This comes from Indriya Sarthi. It comes from sense and sense object. So we can understand by an example. In the male body, there is situated the attachment for female body and vice versa. This attraction is there in senses and sense object. One has to regulate indriyas arte, raga, dvesha, vyavasthita. This tendency of attachment to opposite sex is to be regulated by marriage. This expression of attachment through regulation it is very, very important. We cannot repress our prakriti, so we act according to our nature. This should go in tandem with the regulation of attachment and detachment. This is regulation of vasana. So we dovetail our nature and we regulate our vasana. So that is why we have dharma, regulatory principles in our life. So when we say no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, these are regulatory principles which regulate our attachment and desires, attachment and aversions. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura and Baldev Vidya Bhushan has commented on this. The conditioned soul, they have commented on this. They say that the conditioned soul in the material body wants to enjoy. They have attraction for opposite sex. When there is a sadhu who is saying avoid this, then the conditioned soul may have aversion for sadhus. If somebody devotee says avoid eating coffee, tea, chocolate, then the neophyte devotee may have a hatred for the sadhu. This means that we will try to give up the association of sadhu and simultaneously get attached to the sense object. If he says to someone to stop smoking, he may not get attached to us. He will get attached to the smoking and he will have aversion for the person who is telling not to follow. So devotee may he will not talk to devotee again. This attachment and detachment will steal away the opportunity for that jiva to progress in self-realization. So if you see the Prabhupada's purport, those who are in Krishna consciousness are naturally reluctant to engage in material sense gratification. But those who are not in Krishna consciousness should follow rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures. So we need to, when a devotee says that you should stop smoking, then we should not leave the association of the devotee. At the same time, uh, we should give up, we should give up the bad habit of smoking. So we have to develop attachment to the devotee and aversion to smoking. So that is the right way. So this, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, that brings the uh, control, regulation of attachment and aversion. So we are naturally eager to engage in sense gratification. This is because of our conditioned state. Um, so in the conditioned state, hearing and chatting are the most important activities we need to do. It is like our duty. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending are our favorite pastimes. We look forward to when we can do it. However, we see that Srila Prabhupada is making the statement that people who are Krishna conscious are naturally reluctant to material sense gratification. Why is he making such statement? This is because we have experienced an higher happiness. What is that higher happiness? Higher happiness is derived from association with Krishna, and hence these sense gratification that we want to, the happiness derived from sense gratification is very insignificant. So Krishna conscious person does not want to lose the opportunity of higher happiness by getting entangled in material world because of the material happiness. So if you see shloka number 2.59, Vishaya Vinivat Nirharasya Dehina Rasavarjam Rasopyasya Param Dristvani Vartate. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in Krishna consciousness. So that means what? We are, uh, because we are engaged in Krishna conscious activity, our senses will do not want to lose the higher taste that we have taken. So we naturally start attaching with Krishna conscious things, and we develop aversion for things that take us away from Krishna. So now we see unrestricted sense enjoyment is the cause of material engagement. But one who follows the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures does not become entangled by sense object. For example, sex enjoyment is necessity for conditioned soul, and sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage ties. This is Prabhupada's thing. Then Prabhupada also writes, as long as the material body is there, the necessities of material body are allowed, but under rules and regulation. And yet we should not rely upon control of such allowances. So that means what? If we have a tendency to remain brahmachari, we should remain brahmachari. We need not have to take the allowance that some devotees can become grihastha. So if we have the confidence to remain brahmachari, then we should follow this. That is what Prabhupada uh, we need not have to rely upon control of such allowances. Okay, we need not have to get into marriage if we have no inclination for sex enjoyment. That is the idea. So it means that we do not have to. There is a control in the form in the scriptures in the form of marriage. So it is a regulated dharma. It is the dharma. The regulated way of sex enjoyment is marriage. One gets marriage. Marriage creates a protection for us. This should also be accompanied by deeper understanding of the purpose of no marriage. That is not to engage in sense gratification, but for male and female to come together and serve Krishna. Without this understanding, the so-called marriage will fuel one's sense gratification only, which in turn may burn one's intelligence, thus not allowing to follow dharmic restriction. So this means what? At one level, if there is no inclination for sex enjoyment, we need not have to get into the marriage rules and regulations that is not applicable for us. But if one gets into the marriage, dharmic marriage, then he has to follow the rules and regulations. He must understand the higher purpose why we are getting into the marriage institution. So this is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport there could be accidents even in the royal road. One has to follow those rules and unattached to them because practice of sense gratification and regulation may also lead one to go astray, as much as there is always the chance of accidents even in royal roads. So this is something which we need to. The royal road here refers to shastric arrangement to regulate our sense enjoyment. So the regulatory principles alone do not protect one. They may offer a safeguard with clear understanding what is that we want to guard ourselves against, what is that we need safety from. If we engage in sense enjoyment unlimitedly or unrestrictedly, the sense gratification starts blazing more and more, and hence these regulations will not guard us anymore. This is because we do not want it to guard us anymore. Blaze of desire is so vast that it will knock off all our safeguards. Thus, there will be accidents even in royal roads. The intention of practicing Dharma will be there, but we may not practice Dharma. That is the reason there could be accidents in royal road. So, if you say the word used by Prabhupada, and therefore, in spite of regulated sentence, there is a chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means. But attachment to Krishna consciousness or acting always in loving service of Krishna detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. The words used by Srila Prabhupada here is very significant. Sex enjoyment is necessity of a conditioned soul, not for soul or regulated soul. So what does necessity mean here? It is universal necessity. Actually, the word necessity does not refer to physical necessity. This refers to psychological necessity. It does not mean that if one person does not engage in sex, that person would die. Sex is not necessity on the level of food or sleep. Water is a necessity. Without water, we cannot live. We will die. So sex is not necessity like that. For most of the people, it is necessity in the sense that what is actually a psychological necessity. It is so irresistible that it becomes essential. That is why people are there are very few people in the renounced order. That is why in the society, neither everybody can be renounced, nor everybody can be renounced. So it is very so there are very few people in the renounced order of life focusing entirely on the vertical relationship with Krishna. For them, the sex is not necessity. Since they are getting satisfaction at the spiritual level, there is no longer a necessity. What is the main necessity? The main necessity for all of us is happiness. If one gets happiness in spiritual level, then there is no necessity of happiness at material level. For many people, the experience of happiness at spiritual level to happen requires substantial purification. So this may not be possible at the initial phase of spiritual life. That is the reason to have dharmic marriage prescribed for most people, and the renounced order is for those people who want to focus primarily and exclusively on Krishna. So if you see the last two lines of the purport, therefore, no one should try to be detached from Krishna consciousness at any stage of life. The whole purpose of detachment from all kinds of sense attachment is ultimately to become situated in on the platform of Krishna consciousness. Many people feel that cause of my suffering is my attachment. No, the cause of our suffering is detachment from Krishna consciousness. We suffer that we feel that we cannot eat food without onion and garlic because we are detached from Krishna. So if we see shloka number 15.7, Mamaivansu Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, Manasastani Indriyani Prakristani Karshati. Living entities in the conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with six senses, which include the mind. We are all parts and parcels of Krishna. However, we are separated from Him. This separation is the cause of our suffering. We all have to get connected to Krishna. Our main aim of practice of bhakti is not to get detached from anything, but rectify our detachment to Krishna and get attached to Krishna by reviving our attachment to Him. When we develop attachment to Krishna, the attachment is so fulfilling that material attachment is following or becoming insignificant. We need not have to be troubled or be conscious of our material attachment. Our focus is to develop attachment for Krishna. So for this, what we need to do? So this is the essential process of bhakti. How much ever you struggle in keeping up the sadhana or maintain the standard, we may fall down. But internally, we understand that we have to continue our devotional service and our sadhana. If we are not able to get up one day for Mangalarti, it's okay. There may be many problems, but we should come back again and start attending the Mangalarti instead of rejecting the entire effort of going for Mangalarti, we need to try again and again. This consistency of trying again and again is very, very important. We may feel sometimes very guilty. This guilt may probably eat us away from inside. Actually, if you are chanting Hare Krishna and think that I am chanting for so long but I am not progressing, This is a guilt, and this guilt is the source of temptation. Temptation is not something which only promises material pleasure. Temptation is something that takes us away from Krishna. Lust and greed takes us away from promising pleasure. Guilt, on the other hand, keeps us away from Krishna by creating a war. It creates a war. Our guilt will tell us, I am so fallen, I am unable to get up in the morning. I am not able to practice devotional service. I am not getting purified. What is the use, etc. This guilt makes us feel self-centered. If we become self-centered, we are not Krishna-centered. This is only self-consciousness, not Krishna consciousness. Just like lust or greed makes us self-centered and self-consciousness, this guilt also makes us self-consciousness and self-centered. Lust and greed only makes us think of only I and me enjoyment. Same happens when you feel guilty as well. So guilt should not act as an impetus. Should act actually it should act as the impetus or the catalyst for our journey to Krishna. Guilt is like an internal immune system. Whenever we get infection, there is a fever in the body. When we realize that there is a fever, we take medicine to cure the disease. When we are in guilt, we think that the medicine itself is of no use. Hence, instead of taking medicines in a regulated way, we avoid taking medicine. Feeling of sickness should make us feel the need of taking the medicine. This is the right thinking and application. If feeling of sickness makes us avoid taking the medicine and the treatment, then our thinking is wrong. It will not solve the purpose, that is to come out of the disease or get a proper cure for the disease and become healthy faster. This is not guilt, but it is pseudo guilt. Essentially, the point is that anything that discourages us in practice of Krishna consciousness is pratikul. Pratikul means hindrance and unfavorable. This needs to be rejected. Whenever we get the feeling of guilt for not practicing sadhana, just put the thought aside, get to the sadhana and do it wholeheartedly. So this wholehearted approach is very, very important. There is a very famous poem written by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. I think we'll stop here. Any questions? Hare Krishna Mataji, you have any questions?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhu, this is general question. Who becomes liberated from the law of karma, Prabhu?
Actually, our idea is now to get out of the laws of karma. If we are engaging in Krishna conscious activity, by nature of the activity, you come out of the karma. We cannot come out of laws of karma. Everybody, as long as we are in the material world, we will be bound by laws of karma. But when we are in Krishna consciousness, all reactions of the our previous karma is completely burned. So first we need to take up Krishna consciousness. That is very, very important for us.
Okay, okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One more question, Prabhu. Just to
Uh,
know, see, I just wanted to know clearly what is the purpose, how Lord Krishna indicates the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhu?
Actually, purpose of Bhagavad Gita, we can see that what is the intention of Arjuna. So in the Arjuna is in a very bad position at the beginning of the first chapter. Or in the first chapter, we could see that he is completely dejected. He is indecisive. So we also in our life will face situations which will look like we do not know what is the right way to go. So when we do not know what to do, that time we should know what to do. And Arjuna was also in same situation. He did not know what to do, so he surrendered to Krishna. So in our case, we have representative of Krishna, which is Srila Prabhupada. So when we have problems in our life, everybody has 4 plus 3. First of all is birth, death, old age and disease. Then Adi Dairik, Adi Bautik, Adi Dairik. That means problems created by the other living entities, problems created by ourselves, problems created by no, higher powers like Devi, Devtas. So they create problems for us. So these problems are there with everyone. How can we come out of it? This one, for this, we need to surrender to Prabhupada. So we need to read his books and understand what is happening. So our idea is that there are problems in our the life. We do not know what is correct, what is the right way to come out of these problems. That is why we need to read Bhagavad Gita. So it is the manual to solve problems of life.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you have any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Well, yes, there was one thing I had in mind. So, as the conditioned living entity has for so long maintained this attitude of rebelling against Krishna, and this we can see, well, a child is told that, well, you should not touch the stove top, it is hot, you will burn yourself. And then the child becomes interested that, okay, I will go ahead and I will touch. And then, well, in this remote part of the world, it's a very commonplace thing that parents tell the children, or elders tell children, that when it's cold outside, the weather is freezing, do not go out and stick your tongue in frozen metal. And then everyone goes and does it, and gets the hellish experience when the tongue is stuck there in the frozen metal. People do not go out licking this or that, but when they are distinctly told that you should not do this, then the interest awakens. So therefore the question comes that what would be the right way of giving instruction to one's own self or to others, so that this rebellious attitude would not take rise, and then the person would go and do just that, but so that it would be productive for such a person who is holding to such an attitude.
So it is everybody as the medicine needs to be given in a systematic way. If somebody is, it's a disease, it's a material disease. That disease needs to be cured, but we need to cure it in a slow and steady manner. So we need not have to correct them right from the first day they come and stay with us. So sometimes they need to have a feel. So when a new person joins the ashram, he needs to look at what we are doing, and he may need not have to even attend Mangalarti from the first day. So he can get an experience. That experience should intrigue him to take up Krishna consciousness seriously or ask questions. So initially, it is only the environment in which he stays, um, and in that environment, he should be there. He should then start asking questions. We cannot force. Even Krishna does not force anything on us. So we must give them the right books. So, Message of God. That is a good book. Introduction to Bhagavad Gita. Krishna, the Reservoir of Pleasure. Beyond Birth and Death. These are some books with which we can read together with them, maybe 1 or 2 pages, or maybe one unit in those books we can read together with them and ask explain to them. Instead of directly going to Bhagavad Gita, we can read Prabhupada's small books. SSR is another good book. Or if somebody likes to read stories, we can read from Krishna book. So that means we take the person who shows the first sign of his interest to Krishna, then we spend time with him and understand what interests him, and then have a program to bring him into deeper side of the Krishna consciousness. So there is no straight answer though, but the principle is do it slow, in such a way that um, he gets convinced. And initially, it is only the Prabhupada's books, Arinam and Prasadam that we need to give. Anarthas are very high. So there is a very good shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana agam dunmanti kasnena nihara iha bhaskara. That is, there is a huge fog, as you said. In your country, you also will see huge fog. Can you burn a dynamite and dispel the fog? It is not possible. It is not possible to burn the entire fog. So, what is the best way? Best way is to wait for sun to rise, and sun gradually rises. Then the fog goes away. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya, only by bhakti. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana. Hearing about Vasudeva, it is like Agandunmanti, thick fog, Kasenam dissipates. Nihara iya Bhaskara. Nihara means the Bhaskara is sun. When he comes up, rises, he burns everything, all the fog. So, like that, gradually, we do not see sun rising, but at one point we see the fog is not there, but sun is there. So, that is how it happens. So, slowly we need to uh, give this. So, why Parishit Maharaj is asking this question? There is a huge description of sins and punishment for the sins, which Sukadeva Goswami is explaining, and then Parishit Maharaj is asking what is the way they can come out of these sins. So that for that, Vasudeva Parayana. Sukadeva Goswami is telling Vasudeva Parayana. You have to hear and listen to Krishna, and it is a slow process. It is not like a dynamic, instantaneous, fast food. It is not like that. It is gradual process. So this we need to accept. Then it becomes easy for us to chart plan to solve to bring somebody to Krishna consciousness.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thanks.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. If there is no question, then we'll stop here. वाचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। ग्रंथराज भगवद गीता की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। और
Yeah.
हरे हरि
Hare
बोल।
Hare.
हरे कृष्णा। Thank you very
Hare.
much.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.